All right, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakadash. I want to say apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salakia for that. Let's close the window. Peace, salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. Just a quick hit this morning. Hey, got to a jam, man. Just putting up prayers and just go ahead and jump into the word, because that's what it's about, you know. Though we sometimes are abound, sometimes we are base, you know. Sometimes we're brought low, sometimes we're brought high. The important thing is to bring out the word of the Lord, because this is all a part of our journey. This is 2 Ezra 9:1. It said, "He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." And everybody seems to know, you know, have a notion of the concept of what the end of days is. You know, a time period where basically shit hits the fan, things begin to happen, just like it's going to list down here. And if you ask somebody if we're in the end of days, they'll tell you yes. But what they won't tell you is what it means to you, especially to you Israelites, you know, first and foremost. Okay, it talks about earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. And what are you seeing right now? Protests in Venezuela, protests in Colombia, protests all throughout the United States, you know, protests through Mexico, protests in all these different countries of the world too, Iran, India, uproars. Okay, uproars, because rather than peace, you know, in leadership, the scriptures talk about when the righteous rule, you know, the people will rejoice, basically. But the people are not rejoicing. The righteous are not in rulership. And this whole earth is given to, basically, it's been given to chaos. It says, verse 4, "Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world had the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." And that's basically what we're saying. You've been hearing brothers talk about the end game. You know, at a point, you know, you play chess. At a certain point, it gets to a point where all the pieces that you've set up, all of the moves that you made, it starts to come down to the wire. It starts to add up. It starts to mean something. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the end of this particular Western civilization. And that all of that is in the Bible. Okay, because if this is the end, the end of days, which the scriptures say the earth cannot pass away, that means it's the end of days for somebody or for some nation. And we know that it's the end of this so-called Western world. But this is a quick article I wanted to pull up, because just to go to show you this man is done. This place isn't doing what it used to do when they first started, when they first stole it. Everybody's so down in the dumps. Illinois farmers give up on planting at the floods and throw a party. Heavy rains caused unprecedented delays in planting this year and contributed to record floods across the central United States. The storms have left millions of acres unseeded in the $51 billion U.S. corn market and put crops that were planted late at a greater risk for damage from severe weather during the growing season. And if you look at what's lawful in the scriptures, I believe you're supposed to plant. You're supposed to use the land, and every seventh year, it's supposed to be a land Sabbath. You're supposed to allow the land to rest. Okay, just like us, we're supposed to rest on the Sabbath. We got this devil over us, so that's not always possible. And Esau has never, rather than just obeying the Sabbath, obeying the law that are written in the scriptures, because they read the scriptures too, they just do what the fuck they want to do. And then, when the different insects and stuff, they come to wipe out the fields and to clean it out, and because the Most High's will eventually will happen, whether it be through the insects or whether it be him, through him directly with something like this. Hey, because what these Edomites do is they genetically modify the corn and the plants and the animals so they can keep growing them, so the land never has to rest. The land is never able to rest, because you're looking from a scientific point of view, the land has to, the nutrients have to come back in the land. Every year you're planting something, every year that land is being drained of nutrients. And this man, once again, genetically modifying stuff so that, this stuff can't be consumed. And now corn is so bad, you can't even find regular organic, I believe the term is heritage seed corn. Heritage seed, that's like a seed that comes before the time of genetic modification, which I don't even know, where you'll find that. That's how late in the game we are. That's how much this devil has done. And all of this market was built up, you already know, by Jake, and put crops that were planted late at a greater risk for damage from severe weather. And that's another thing this man does too, Salakia. Corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. He'll take the parts of the corn and continue to use it to fucking kill you. That high fructose corn syrup is very, very bad for you. And it's in damn near every food that you eat. But back to the article, it said the 51 billion U.S. corn market and put crops that were planted late at a greater risk for damage from severe weather during the growing season. It says a farmer from Mineral, Illinois was unable to plant 85% of his intended corn acres and wanted to commiserate with his fellow farmers, so they're throwing a party for that. Yep. And then also another thing, because these other nations that talked about they'll hate the whore, they said together the problems heap more pain on a farm sector that has suffered from years of low crop prices because Esau controls. That just goes to show you he's the Pharaoh. He put his own people in slavery. He has them working for so cheap that they have to keep working. They have to keep working. At the same time, they got to keep buying new equipment. They got to keep doing this. Because Esau and Monsanto and all these different companies, they basically have a monopoly on the resources. And that's why everybody hates this man. Everybody wants to come to this country so they can make money. Okay, because it talks about that in Revelations. Basically, the merchants will weep when they see that this place is destroyed. But then, at the same time, they hate this place because it's wicked. The moral fiber is completely deteriorated, done away with. Okay, it says the problems heap more pain in a farm sector that has suffered from years of low crop prices and a U.S.-China trade war that is slowing agricultural exports. So help is not coming. Forecasts for even more rain sent U.S. corn futures to a 5-year high on Friday, though fewer farmers will benefit from soaring prices because of planting disruptions. This is just some examples of what it means. Yeah, because now these people who, bad enough they're already in the damn country somewhere, on the countryside, but now they can't even make all the money that they need to make. People, hey, as the generations go on and go on, people are trying to, these Edomites especially, they're trying to get away from this kind of work because it means they have to work hard. It means they have to deal with this kind of shit. They have to deal with weather affecting their money. Because I know in certain places they have contracts with these different agricultural corporations, and a lot of the farmers, they were doing well for a while. They would only have to work for 3 months out of the year. Then they could go, wherever the fuck they go, Florida, they wouldn't, basically, they work a few months, 3 to 5 months, and then that was it. Now their money is running thin. It says the U.S. government announced a $16 billion aid package to help farmers hurt by reduced sales to China, by only those who manage to plant a crop are eligible for payments. President Donald Trump also recently signed a $19 billion disaster relief bill that included more than $3 billion for expenses related to losses of crops, including those prevented from planting. So these Edomites, even though this place is going down, as you can see, man, they're ready to just throw money at the problem. Look, there's 19 billion, excuse me. But hey, Lord willing, the Most High keeps the rain going, and He keeps, keeps the destruction of these people going. They've already destroyed the food and land, and they got your food being grown in a fucking lab. Matter of fact, they can grow all your food in the lab. They can grow meat. They can grow all these different plants in a lab, genetically modified. Hey, that's really it on that. That's all I wanted to show. So we're in that time, man. Just like the scripture said earlier, in verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. And it's just a question of going down the checklist for these different end of days prophecies. Going down the checklist. Verse 7, everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, because, works without faith is dead, but ultimately is your faith, because we've done so many things that are worthy of death and, going off and going after the ways of the flesh. So you're going to need your works and you're going to need your faith, whereby ye have believed. Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. And as we know in Romans 9, the covenant was with the Israelites. The promise was with the Israelites. The blessing is only with the Israelites. And that's how we can know who in the scriptures is an Israelite and who's not, because they can receive the word of the Lord. That being said, though, call Allah Yahweh Shai. Hey, continue to pray, continue to build up in the spirit. Hey, this place doesn't have too much time left, Lord willing. Shalom to the elect brothers. Shalom.